To generate a BAS report for a particular period, the first thing to do is to click on the Reports button on the receipts, and then generate a sales report, an income report, and a payments report. If you're not sure of how to do that, click on the Movie Projector button and watch the movies for that particular report, how to conduct the report. Once you have those 3 reports, the next thing we need to do is to go to the cash book by clicking on the cash book button. And once we're on that, the index layout of the cash book, we then click on the BAS list button. And that'll take us to a list of BAS reports. If there are any in there, for the first time there'll probably be none, and so you won't see a line across there. What you need to do, of course, to begin is to click on the new record button up the top. Okay, let's get the ball rolling by clicking on the new record button. And what we'll do is we'll put in the BAS date range. In this case, let's put in 1st of the 4th 2013 ... to the 30th of the 6th 2013. And from the sales report, we put in the total sales, and we'll put in the GST free sales, and we'll also put in total income or total paid sales. So that gives us our starting point. Now what we now do is we'll click on the little arrow button on the left of that particular narrow record, and that's going to take us to the BAS form itself, the BAS calculation form. And here we go, we've got the various amounts of total sales is $20,160. We got GST free sales are showing, and the program automatically calculates for you now what we've got to put in. If you have any capital purchases like equipment, etc., that needs to go into the G10. If we've got any non-capital purchases, including any GST, you put this in here. And that figure is from the payment of expenses report. Goes into G11. And I've put the amount of $10,250, and you can just scroll down, you can see on the bottom that we have a GST credit of $932 and GST payable of $1102. Now we'll go to page 3 of the calculation sheets, and we'll put in the taxation commissioner's instalment rate, and let's say it's 2.2%. If you've got any employees, salary and wages and the amount withheld for taxation purposes also needed to be entered as well. Back to page 2, and then finally back to page 1. And you can see now on page 1 it gives us the GST net amount, $170. We've got to pay $444 for PAYG, the pay-as-you-go taxation, and that comes to a total of $1,546. We have a credit for GST of $932, so that means that $614 is payable. It is as simple as that. And if we go to the BAS form itself, that's the calculation sheet. So we click on the button up the top here on the left, BAS form, and there is the form as we now have it. That's page 1, and that's page 2 with all the various figures on there. And as you can see, the tax is payable, $614. The reason why I've got the 2 forms on there is that the older form is a lot easier for all your calculations to work properly, and the figures get automatically put into the current form anyway. So anytime in future when you want to look at a particular BAS report, you can just go back to your BAS list, and there's a report there with all the various details in that particular line. And as time goes by, you'll have more and more and more down the track. You can even put in this entry date field here, put in the date that you entered the details for the BAS, or you completed your BAS statement. And just to remind you, hold down the control key, type minus, and it puts in your current date for you automatically. There are a couple of fields that are very commonly used that I forgot to mention, and one is purchases without GST in the price. So let's put a figure in here, and also estimated purchases, say for private use, because those figures come out of the payment of expenses report, and so we can put in, say, $350 was spent on personal purchase for personal use on purchases. And that, of course, will change. The GST credit and the GST payable is 1102. The GST credit now is down to 757, and you can now see how that's adjusted the GST payable, which is now up to $789. Yeah, I just thought I'd better mention that to you because those fields are very commonly used.